Hi, can you guys hear me? I gotta make you co-host to get people on. I don't know what's happening that I had to get a recovery code
That is
uh,
weird.
from
That's Mitch's last three digits.
I've been
Good
working on
luck figuring
I've been
it
working on
out.
it for 15 minutes.
Oh,
I'm going to
18
rename
people.
myself.
Okay.
I unfortunately am not in a place where I can be on camera. Um, I hope that's okay.
No, no.
Can't tell if we have Adrian.
Mm.
To everybody who's just getting here, I'm sorry, we had a technical problem for some reason. I couldn't the Zoom, like the DC version of our Zoom whatever server was not letting me host the meeting. So apologies for the late start and late admit of some of you, but we're just going to get the rest of our, we don't have a quorum, so we have to wait for Adrian to arrive. We have Amy, but Amy, I can't spotlight you because you're not a camera. So we just need, if Adrian arrives, then we have a quorum and I can call the meeting to order, and there we go.
Here, I'm just not able to be on camera right away, but I will try to be
Well,
on
that's fine.
camera.
I understand. I just was trying to explain that we don't have a quorum, but that's why I can't look to see if everybody is here.
Hello, apologies for the delay. I am here now.
Okay, so Adrian, with you here, that means we have a quorum, but I gotta find you here and spotlight you and make you a co-host. Okay. Does anyone see Commissioner David?
No.
Okay. Well, it's 7:03 and apologies again to everybody for the technical difficulty of starting this meeting on time, but we do have a quorum with 4 commissioners present: Commissioner Rothman, Commissioner Iglesias, Commissioner Guzman, and Commissioner Bear is unable to attend tonight, but has passed along his notes for the evening. So I'd like to call the meeting to order. It is 7:03 p.m. and welcome everyone to the April meeting of ANC3F. I am never very good at Robert's Rules of Order, but I've had a week, so please show me a little, I probably need a little grace tonight. I have a tonsillectomy and a stomach bug in my home, so here we are. We're here. So we're going to adopt the April agenda, and all commissioners have seen and preliminarily approved the draft agenda, except for Commissioner David. And so, but she's not here. So the rest of us, I move that we adopt the April agenda.
I second.
And the March meeting minutes, Amy, I actually don't, did a clean copy of those go around? I actually didn't see that today. So I think we might need to hold off on approving those because I know I looked at them and I made some changes, but I don't think I saw a final, and that actually, I'm sorry that I didn't realize that until just this moment.
Oh, it's
Um,
okay. I do have a final. I believe I accepted all the changes and it is in the file. I saw everyone's changes who sent them to me. And I accepted them without any hesitation.
Okay, so I mean, I think I did my changes last Thursday, so if that's the, has everyone else taken a look at those meeting minutes?
They're fine with me as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, so, I'll move that we approve the March 2025 minutes.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that's four. All commissioners present approved. Thank you so much. So let's go straight to Lieutenant Forrest. Lieutenant, are you here? Let's
Yes,
take a
ma'am.
second. Hi, how are you?
I am well, thank you, and good evening to everybody. It's lovely again being here with you, and thank you for everybody who showed up at the community walk. Appreciate that. So I'm gonna jump right into our stats. For the past 30 days, within the last 30 days, I should say, we had one ADW, and that was at 2950 Van Ness. That was domestic in nature. We had one robbery, 4700 block of Connecticut. That stolen was earbuds and an iPhone. We had well, this is like right on the cusp of 30 days, so it didn't show in this, but we did have a burglary on Gates, the 3000 block of Gates Street. That was a home burglary, and the suspect was arrested on scene, so that turned out well. There was
Can we pause on that? Because that was just March. That was just the end of March and we
the
didn't,
21st. So
yeah,
yeah, so I was getting some emails regarding, and I was looking into it for,
yeah, thank you.
so what happened
The
was
question, sorry, by the way,
show
just
up.
to let
I know.
everyone know, the question was,
Yeah.
it didn't, we
Show
had
up.
heard about it, but it didn't show up. So myself and another neighbor have both inquired with MPD, why we weren't seeing that. So that's what I'm following up on, just so everybody understands.
Okay, so I believe Miss Branch just sent something out today, and
Yes.
she spoke to somebody and they told her that the reason why that probably did not show up is because probably the time of day and it was automatically generated, and it probably didn't it happened about 11:23 at night. So I'm thinking by the time the report was finished and the generation of the report, for some reason it got deleted from the because it generated from the day before. So I think that was probably a glitch. So as far as I know, they said that could be the reason, or if there was any minor change to the report or anything like that, then it probably would, because of the timing, then it probably didn't show. But it did happen. And we did it
Right,
did
right. Well,
happen.
I just like, I think part of the issue was that, because that was well, my understanding is it was a burglary or a home invasion while the
People
residents were at
at
home.
home, right?
That's the kind of thing that I think we want to make neighbors aware of. And
Of course, of course.
thank you so much for making an arrest, but is that person being held?
So, as far as that's concerned, I did not follow up on that. We normally don't, get that information unless we inquire about it. So I would hope so, but I cannot like definitively tell you 100% that that's the case. But I would definitely hope so, because MPD definitely did our part in making the arrest and doing everything that we had to do on our part.
How do we follow up on things like that? Just in terms of like, is that a FOIA request? How, if
So,
there's something that's that
so it could,
of
so
a
that could
crime
be.
as opposed to like breaking into a car, or, we've had some more aggressive crimes lately. How do we find out if those assailants are still sort of walking around in our neighborhood
So that could
or in
be.
other neighborhoods?
So that could be definitely a FOIA request, or that, because that is on the side of the attorneys from on that level. So we really don't, MPD, like from my level, does
You
not
did your
get.
job.
Right, and we don't get a report, so we would, for us to even get it, we would have to do a follow-up and say, make a phone call, send an email, hey, was this person held? What happened? With regards to that. So anything with regarding to anything that's public, a FOIA request is always, recommended for you guys to get.
Okay, well, the headline is, everybody, please be mindful, because this, someone went into a house late at night while the residents were home. Please do your part, lock your doors,
Yes,
be vigilant.
definitely. And those residents, they were, instrumental in helping us to apprehend the suspect, because they were their alarm was in working condition and went directly to the 911 dispatch. 911 dispatched it right away. Our officers and sergeant, they were on scene right away, and the homeowners were in a safe place and was actually still talking to the police while we got there, while the person was there and telling us that they were trying to disarm their alarm. So they were trying to say that they lived there. Of course, we knew that wasn't the case because we were on the phone with the homeowner. So that was a good arrest. That was good reaction, good thinking on the part of the sergeant and the officer. Moving right along from the burglary, from the hold on, burglary, motor vehicle thefts. So we had 3 motor vehicle thefts within the last 30 days. They were scattered, so there was not in any one place. One was from a apartment from a building on Van Ness. The other one was from Davenport. The other one I forgot, but it was not in the same. So it's spread. It's spread it out. Theft from autos. We also had 3 theft from autos. We had one 5,000 block of Connecticut. We had another one Macomb, and we did have another one at 2,900 block of Newark. That's also spread. We're declining where those things are concerned. But for those 3 that we did have, we saw that people were still leaving stuff in their vehicles. One was a construction vehicle that left, a whole bunch of stuff in there unlocked, unattended. So that being said, that's all I have for the crime stats. However, I know there was a concern with Vesey Street, the Mom's Organic, with regarding to traffic. However, I did pass myself in that location about probably 10 or so, but I did not see like an influx or of traffic. So if someone could let me know, because I did tell my officers, please give special attention in that area. But if somebody could give us like an idea as to the time of day that they're really seeing, an influx or traffic congestion right there. Because I know I passed by about 10:30, maybe it wasn't the right time of day, whatever, and things were moving pretty smoothly, but we are still giving special attention to that area. And also for the Forest Hill party on Saturday, I took note for that, and we are definitely giving special attention there on Saturday. So that's all I have, unless anybody have any questions for me.
Yes, we do. And Commissioner Iglesias, and I think he can speak to our GoPuff VZ.
Yes, I guess I had 2 very different things to say. The
Sure.
first, with regard to moms, I guess I'm less familiar with what might be happening directly in front of moms, but I wonder if what I have heard from, I guess, let me backpedal a little bit. For context, my house is directly behind Breadfirst, which is a couple blocks, like a block and a half away from mom's, but right on Connecticut by there. What I have been getting a handful of emails and a lot of, I walk my dog in the neighborhood often, so I get just lots of neighbors flagging me down. Is
The hazard of the job, man,
is
and the joy.
yeah, is the car wash traffic, which which I bring up because I wonder if people might think it's related to moms, because I've heard, while I know moms has opened and I love that they have finally opened and they're doing great, I wasn't aware that any sort of traffic issues were happening with it. While at the same time, I've heard a lot of things in the past 4 or 5 days specifically about the car wash having yeah, exactly. And Juanita DeGray just mentioned from UDC in the chat, just mentioned Mom's does have a garage. So I would hope that people going to Mom's realize the garage is there and are parking there, so it shouldn't be much of a traffic issue. But yeah, I've heard, again, especially, I'm sure you're familiar with this Lieutenant Forest. The car
Mhm.
wash is a contentious issue in the neighborhood, and
Mhm.
it's kind of always a thing people bring up. But I will note that in the last 4 or 5 days specifically, people
Mhm.
have been bringing up the car wash traffic again, which it's a cyclical thing, of course. Once the weather changes, people want their cars washed and they go to car wash more. And I think it might be as simple as the car wash taking more care of the traffic, but I wonder if that might be it. And again, and I'm pausing myself because I'm reading the chat, and I see. So I think the main issue with the Mom's traffic might be turning left into Wyndham. So their parking lot is on Wyndham, and people turning left into the parking lot northbound during rush hour seems to be affecting people. So I guess to answer your question about timing, from what I understand, people might be concerned about traffic going northbound, turning into Wyndham, which is where
Wyndham.
the Mom's parking lot is,
Okay.
during the morning and evening rush hours.
Okay, great. So I'll
Um,
make sure
yeah,
that the office is
exactly.
aware of that.
And then I guess my personal thing was I've heard plenty about the car wash. If there's anything you might be able to offer help with the car washes, sort of
Mhm.
issues, which again, it's a classic thing I'm sure you're familiar with. Just Albemarle piles up
Mhm.
north, and people, I guess I consider it like a 50-50 split of people in line for the car wash are
Mhm.
upset that it's not moving, and then people who aren't in line for the car wash don't realize
It's the car wash.
that it's a car wash, and so they think people are just
Right.
driving thoughtlessly when it really is people who have no intention of moving because they want the car wash.
And
Right.
ostensibly that gives the car wash additional property in our neighborhood that they don't lease or own, right? Because they are taking up literally a lane of traffic both on Albemarle and on Connecticut as people wait. And I think they used to, and Adrian, I think you may have spoken to them, they used to have a person that directed traffic or was able to move people through more quickly, but now I don't know I've passed there in recent times when it hasn't been around the corner, and I just don't think um it's not fair to the neighborhood, it's not fair to the other businesses, it's not fair to people who are walking or driving that business is now basically owns a lane of Connecticut Avenue and a lane of Albemarle.
Mhm.
I know that's not your problem intended for us, but I don't know, because it is sort of an enforcement issue of that lane and the ability of the safety of the street.
So it would be a little bit difficult for us to even know ourselves who's for the car wash and who is actually just a regular person on the road. But what we can probably do, what we can have our traffic unit respond over to that area and pretty much doing like an assessment. And if there's people that's like breaking the law or blocking the
Yeah.
streets, then we could, do it that way. And we probably could have a conversation, just a mere contact. We can't tell anybody what to do or how to run their business, but we can probably see if there's any suggestion,
Yeah.
middle ground. Maybe there's a signs, maybe somebody,
And again, I'm sorry if you are aware of this, but that's kind of why I feel like the neighborhood's very frustrated by it, because it seems that
Mhm.
there are months where they do put out signs and they do bring out employees to manage it, and then they kind of
Right.
just give up on it. And it's like,
And
Give
the
up
well,
on
same
you're there, it
issue is
helps.
occurring on Wisconsin Avenue. I just know because my son was the dentist and the dentist was in the building next to the car wash, and the same thing, you've lost a lane of traffic or a lane of parking or a lane of whatever, because it's just a constant backup. I mean, I guess it's nice that people are getting their cars washed.
And I
So
will add to that, I'm sorry, and this may
Mhm.
be useful or fruitful or just good to know for Lieutenant Force as well.
Yes.
I did today specifically call the car wash, and
Mhm.
um I will say to constituents who may be listening, I did wait, I think like 18 or 19 minutes on hold to get any sort of answer.
Mhm.
That being said, once they did answer, I noted that it's just I mentioned, I was like, hey, like listen, the thing's happening again. You're backing up
Mhm.
traffic, you're not managing it, and the neighborhood's upset. And again, this was just today, and it was a very direct response to just me being annoyed by people honking outside of my house. But they did respond to that decently, and so maybe this is less of a thing geared towards Lieutenant Forrest, but to anybody who may be listening who may be suffering from this issue, it may be obnoxious and difficult to actually get through ultimately to the car wash, but I think it will help a little bit if we can get some neighborhood pressure from this, because I think that they often just forget how much people actually care and
Well, that's a good point.
experience the nonstop honking.
Commissioner Guzman, do you want to jump in?
Oh, the only other thing I wanted to say is that if you are on Albemarle and you have a stopped line of cars to the right, waiting to make that turn onto Connecticut, and they're in the car wash line, what I see is people then who legitimately want to turn right, they jump into the next lane and speed around. But what is the real danger is that there are often pedestrians in that crosswalk that you don't see because you've got that stationary lane turning right for the car wash, and you're just zipping around and your line of sight is just enough obscured that I've seen so many near accidents. And it's also like a ton of parents use that crosswalk because of the Montessori school.
Yeah, no, it's
So-
really a safety issue. That's such a
Yeah,
good, that's such a good
exactly. I
point,
mean-
because a frustrated driver is an unsafe driver, and they're all frustrated now on Albemarle because also well, to foreshadow another later part of the meeting, they're frustrated that Albemarle's closed. They're frustrated
Right.
they've been stuck in this line that they didn't know that they were in, all the
Right.
things. All right, thank
So
you
I
so
don't know,
much.
Lieutenant Forrest, if that's something that you could tell people, tell your officers to specifically look for, because I feel like if people get ticketed doing that, like word will spread.
Okay, definitely. I will definitely put that on their radar on especially the morning and evening shift. So I'll definitely make sure that's going on.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And
Adrian, you're,
one very irrelevant to this thing, but actually happens to be the same exact intersection. There was, when was this? At some point late last week at the Connecticut House, which is, I'm sure, a building you're intimately familiar with at this point, Lieutenant Forrest. It seems one of the residents there, or well, it doesn't seem, I witnessed it, so let me backpedal. I was walking out of home, and one of the residents there had walked out, and some altercation happened, and an older gentleman was like pushed to the ground, and got like assault. I don't know what ultimately happened. I know that there was an altercation to some degree, and that there was lots of MPD presence there as soon as it happened. And I was just on my way out of home, and I remember talking to an MPD officer and mentioning, like, I saw the person who pushed this guy down flee back into Connecticut House. They're definitely in there. But I haven't heard any updates from that, or our neighbors just. I guess the real concrete question is: do you know if they happen to get to the bottom of that or apprehend the person, or at least did anything?
Okay, so
from that?
let me research that.
Thank you. Sorry.
I'm
Yeah.
not 100% sure, especially if there wasn't an apprehension or if there wasn't a
Yeah,
complaint
which
or
is
whatever. But what
thank
do you
you.
remember? Do you remember what day it was?
Ooh, I'll tell you because I texted the other commissioners when it
Or
happened.
you can email me. Do you want to email me and
Sure.
then
I mean,
word-
I will find it in 10 seconds. Give me 10
Okay.
seconds.
It was on
It was
Saturday.
was Saturday.
Saturday afternoon. Saturday mid to late afternoon, like right before 5 p.m., around 5:30, 5:40-ish, I want to say is when I would guess it happened. But somebody was, again, I wouldn't assume you knew about this, except for that within minutes of it happening, like 6 or 7 officers pulled over, which
Yeah.
is great. Though, knowing that it was just somebody that got pushed over, I was like, wow, that's an intense response. But I'm glad people came here quickly. But there seemed to be a lot of when I was there in person, it seemed to be people were confused about where this. It was a woman who had pushed over the guy, and people were wondering where she'd went, and she went back in the building. She lives in Connecticut House, and so again,
Okay.
I feel like I'm reiterating it now because I feel like I just want to make sure that people understand there was at least a witness who saw this happen and knows that
And knows.
the
Okay,
person
no
lives
worries.
there.
So that's great that we do
Sorry.
have you as a contact once I do my investigation, because what happened, depending on how we get the call from
Mhm.
MPD, it determines whether how we show up. You know
Of
what I mean?
course.
So
Okay, I
depending
see.
on what was said by the dispatcher, we're
Yeah.
gonna go in numbers, especially if they're
Totally make,
incinerating,
yeah, no.
you know.
I
So
get the idea.
but I'm
Like
gonna
somebody got attacked, you're gonna bring out people. That makes total sense. I get, yeah,
right.
yeah. Thank you.
So I'm going to look into this, Adrian, and I will email you um back tomorrow. That's good.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All
No,
right.
yeah.
All right. Great,
No
great,
rush
great.
at all, obviously, but I
Mm,
just
I
want to
like
make it,
I like
it's on my mind, it's on neighbors' minds.
yeah.
Make sure I get it
And
out
I like
there.
to jump on these things because I get so many different emails, and I really want to always try to get back to each and every one of you guys. So I'm definitely gonna put it on my list of things to do once I get in tomorrow. Okay?
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. And
Thanks
sorry
a
to add
lot
to
for
your
being here.
list.
Does anyone else have questions? Raise your hand. All right. Thank you so much. Thanks again for being here, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks for all the information.
You're very welcome. Have a blessed evening, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moker, Owen Cox. Are you here? Do you see him?
Yes, hello.
Hi,
Hi,
how are
everyone. How
you?
are you? I'm good. My name is William Owen Cox. I'm the Ward 3 liaison for the Mayor's Office of Community Relations and Services. I have a couple quick announcements, some specific for 3F and some for the wider ward, but I like to share them just in case we have folks who might be relevant for. So, first of all, thank you to everyone who came out on April 19th to the Forest Hills Park Spring Cleanup. Um, We got the baseball diamond fixed thanks to help from DGS, and we also talked with them about fixing the tennis court fence. It's just a matter of assigning a crew and working with their schedule. We
That's
also
over
told
a
them,
year long, that, get it, that request.
yeah,
This will also foreshadow a later part of the meeting when we have a Forest Hills Park resolution. We have, I think, 9 open work orders that have been open for longer than months.
gotcha.
That's the longest one. That's multiple year, I think over a year.
Okay.
So the
Um,
scheduling is probably not the issue, but we'd really like to see that fixed by a professional.
yeah. Well, the cleanup was a success. We also had a safety walk with MPD last week, so thanks to everyone who came up and showed out. I will announce that my manager and I are going to have Moker's office hours on April 25th from 2 to 5 p.m. at Palisades Library. And there's also a roll off day coming up on May 10th at Turtle Park. Just a reminder for roll off days, that's when we have um, a large dumpster available for folks to come out to get rid of large bulk items without having to schedule a pickup with DPW. But there's a reminder there's no electronics, no oxygen tanks, and any mattresses must be fully wrapped. And then finally, I want to share fedsupport.dc.gov. If anyone knows anyone who is a federal worker who is in search of any resources after having been laid off, tell them to go to fedsupport.dc.gov for resources.
And I'll be
And
sharing them
that's
in
it
the
for
chat
me.
for anybody
Thank you.
interested. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, that's really important. Thank you, Adrian. Do you have any other info about what what that any detail about what that provides? Is it
Well, it would be to connect folks to resources in terms of there's some resume review. It's not exactly like a job fair, but more like resume review for folks if they're transitioning to another job, things like that.
okay?
And it's
Thank
also not just for federal workers, right? It's for any workers that have been recently laid off, right?
I think for the fedsupport.dc.gov, I think that would be for federal workers. But I mean, if you have if you can get connected to the internet, I think you could go. There might be something for folks who are non-Fed workers there, but I think primarily it's
I think
for
we got
federal
I think we
workers.
have some trickle down, ripple out, Fed adjacent
Mm.
people who've lost their
Mhm,
jobs who
mhm.
probably
Yeah,
need
yeah,
would also be would love to use those resources if
yeah. Like contractors too.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
great. Thank you. Thanks so much.
All right.
Great. Thanks a lot for
course.
the update. And let's move on to Gloria Garcia.
Hi,
Van
everyone.
Ness
Good
Main Street.
evening. Gloria Garcia, Van Ness Main Street. Our corridor news, which is now old, but we opened Moms on April 4th, as well as the whale tea. So very excited to have foot traffic, even though I have also had the reports about the left turn into Wyndham. So that's where it's coming from. But we hope to have another one open this summer. We're working on that doghouse, which is the last one, the old acacia space. So fingers crossed on that. As many of you know, we are in the midst of Spring Now, Be the Change. So we have people scanning the bees in businesses. We have 15 businesses that are participating. We're also in full planting mode for the pollinator program, thanks to many donors and the ANC with their great 2 grants we've received over the past 4 years. We also have pollinator walks that are going to be the middle of May, and people are buying those tickets. And then we have a dance party as part of our Good, Clean, Fun initiative at the Forest Hills Park this Saturday from 4 to 6. So a lot of exciting community building things going on, and just thanks to the ANC for all the support.
And thanks for your support of Good Clean Fun, because I think that organization is just making such an impact at the park.
Yeah, I think it takes all parts of the village.
It's your support of them
thank you, because the
I want to
ANC
just connect the dots for people that's
yeah, and I really want to thank the ANC for taking up the resolution this evening, because it has been more than, it's been an ongoing thing through the pandemic, for all the issues that are listed in the resolution. So thank you.
Thanks, Gloria.
Any questions? Because that's all I have for tonight.
No, I think
Oh,
that's it.
also, you are taking up a district fringe after this, and my board has completely
Waiting on your
thrown
word.
its has put in its approval for district fringe. Van Ness Main Street bringing district fringe to UDC, and we have put in the space request. And one of our board members is going to sit down with President Eddington shortly. So stay tuned for more, but it should be super exciting. So District Fringe will supersede our movie nights this summer, because they want to take over, can't do both. So we're excited about District Fringe, not only at UDC, but possibly bringing bands to some of the businesses and really, getting everybody involved up and down the corridor. So could be big for Van Ness.
That's great. Thank you so much, Gloria.
You're welcome.
UDC, Juanita.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon or good evening. Just a few updates. As Gloria mentioned, the university has opened up Mom's Organic and Whale Tea last week. So thank you to everyone who came out to the grand opening. Whale Tea had a soft opening. They will have a grand opening. We're working on that with them. So I will get that information out once I get it. The doghouse, they are working on their DOB permit and CFA approval. So no opening date has been determined for that establishment just yet. And then Tropical Smoothie Cafe, they're working on a design. Again, Tropical Smoothie Cafe is going to be inside the student center, across from where the Chick-fil-A is. There's a space, you probably haven't seen it because we've been using it as storage, but it has an outside door. It was originally conceived as a convenience store when we first built the student center, but we never used it for that purpose. But that is where the Tropical Smoothie Cafe will be going into. And there's no opening date for that just yet, as well. Some construction things that are happening DC Council approved our parking garage emergency structure repairs, and then they have also approved the modernization project for buildings 39. We're going to be renovating floor 1 and 3, building 44, the A level, and then building 71, which is the law school floors 2 through 7. Now, all of this obviously is contingent upon what's going to happen with the budget, which we're all just holding our breaths to see what's going to happen. And then if those projects move forward, the construction will start this summer, but it shouldn't affect traffic or anything because everything is internal inside the building. There's no outside construction. And then exciting, we have 2 new associate programs that have been approved by our board of trustees. So we will have now, and I don't know if they're beginning this fall, that part I have to get the information, but an associate of arts in criminal justice, 6, and then a certificate in polysonography. Okay, I'll spell it out because I can't say it.
Polysonography.
Thank you very much.
I don't know what it is, but I'm an editor.
I don't either. I should have looked that up before I started this meeting. But it's exciting. We have 2 new programs, but that is a certificate in polysonography, not a degree. So that will be housed over in workforce development. And then the associate degree will be housed over in community college at our Lamont Riggs campus. And then lastly, we're at the end of the semester. Commencement for the university is Saturday, May 10th at the Convention Center. And our keynote speaker this year is the founder of Steph Africa, C. Brian Williams, which is really exciting because it is their 30th anniversary this year. And he will be receiving an honorary doctorate degree. So those are all of my updates. Yes, questions. Commissioner Guzman?
Not a question, but I just was curious. Polysonography is a diagnostic tool in sleep medicine.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's great. We're all learning.
Absolutely. Any other questions from the community or commissioners?
Great. Thanks so much, Juanita, and congratulations on
Thank you. Also,
everything.
I'm sorry, one more thing. Our
Sure.
budget performance hearing has been moved. We don't have a new date yet. And again, it's because everyone's still waiting on what's going to happen with the budget.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone.
Moving on to Councilmember Fruman's office. Shantice.
Good evening, everyone. Our major updates this week is that we're having our Workday and Award on Sunday at the Palisades Farmers Market from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. So if you happen to stop by, come and see us. Also, the council member is going to the 5th annual Old People Are Cool Walk and Roll on Thursday, May the 1st. He will be giving some remarks at 1 p.m. at the beginning of the walk. Other than that, those are like the biggest things that we have right now. And like Juanita said, because we're patiently/impatiently waiting on the budget to come. So once we get that information, then I'll probably have more updates. The other big thing that we want to push is for people to please sign up for our newsletter. The next one is coming out on this Thursday. And it's bi-weekly, so it's every other Thursday. And that's when you'll get the updates from our office. And this current one is going to include information on the federal activity and the impact on our budget, our Q1 public safety data, and more. And also on our website, there is a link where you can see all of our previous newsletters as well underneath Newsroom. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Councilmember Fruman, we want to pass along our thanks, was at the Forest Hills Park on Saturday, doing his part and getting his hands dirty and cleaning up. So we really appreciate his participation and actually everybody else who was there too. But he was there answering questions and picking up trash. So thanks to your office for your continued support of our little section of Ward 3.
Of course, and I'll be sure to let him know that you guys thank him as well.
Thank you. Thanks, Shantice.
You're welcome.
Judy Ingram, Northwest Community Food.
Good evening, commissioners and neighbors. Thanks for the opportunity to update you on the Northwest Community Food Pantry. This past weekend, we served 345 families. It's among our highest attendance yet. And we see no sign that demand will be falling anytime soon. We're really fortunate to have scores of dedicated volunteers and many, many donors who make this work possible. And we are very fortunate to have UDC as a partner in this work. UDC has provided us with space in the old Walgreens building for the past 4 years. And as many of you know, they let us know earlier this year that we need to move on. They found us space, a really good space in the back of the David A. Clark Law School across from the tennis courts. Renovations are going on now. We will have our last distribution at our current site Memorial Day weekend and hope desperately to be able to open the very next weekend, June 1st, in the new space. So I want to express my gratitude to UDC, of course, to ANC3F and Councilmember Fruman in particular for being incredibly supportive, as well as our neighbors. Every week, we have a parade of people bringing us things to hand on to our neighbors, and I think it's just become a great community effort.
It's like an amazing news, but also, I mean, I'm sorry that you're serving so many people, but amazing that you're serving so many people. And I would also encourage people to go because it's a lovely experience to be there, and to help out. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that that the UDC partnership continues to thrive and will grow into the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, does anyone in the community have any announcements that we might not have picked up here? And if I don't see them right away, we're gonna.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Courtney, everyone, I'm sorry about this, but I forgot that our annual meeting for Van Ness Main Street will be on May 8th at Park Van Ness, 4455 in the club room. 8:30 for coffee and goodies, and then our annual meeting report at 9. Sorry, I forgot that, but we'll be sending out more notice.
This is your community announcement. That was legit.
Sorry.
And
That's fine.
and it is in the chat right now for anybody who'd like to know the
Thank you,
address or anything.
Adrian. Thank you.
Thanks. And we're behind because of our technical difficulty and my gift of gab. So we're going to try and quickly do commissioner updates, starting with Commissioner Guzman.
Most of the updates for my 3FO. Well, actually, you know what? I'm thinking about schools and universities. 3FO2, I don't really have anything.
Good. Move along.
Yes.
You have a lot going on in this meeting later, so we'll see you. Adrian, Commissioner Iglesias.
I will let the district fringe folks give my update for me. My main update is for those of you who don't know, my background's entirely in theater and performance, and so I'm very excited to be able to help the DC Fringe Festival revive and become a part of our ward, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Commissioner Rothman.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So Terry Hewitt of the Housing Committee is not here tonight, so I'm just gonna say for both of us that we followed up on the secondary smoke resolution, forwarding it to the relevant DC agencies and the council. And I was very happy to get a positive response from the DC Health Chief of Staff. His name's Carl Filler. And I'll continue to follow up, but I'm just going to read a little excerpt from what he said. So DC Health and our tobacco control team is supportive of reducing exposure to secondhand smoke. And we are researching national, state, and local policies about how to best protect residents in multi-unit housing. He welcomes any research. He says, please do send, their team is going to continue to work on it and they'll keep us updated. So I thought that was positive. Real quick, a number of neighbors on Alton Place between Reno and 36 are concerned about sidewalk plans, and I'm scheduling a date and time for DDOT to meet with neighbors on site. So if anyone on this call would like to be included, please email me. And then finally, just wanted to note, building on the tree canopy, the UDC tree canopy presentation from last ANC meeting, I've drafted up, I've taken a first stab really at drafting a resolution in support of the work that UDC has done and hopefully is continuing to do for their, unique tree canopy. And I plan to introduce it at the next ANC. So also email me if anyone is interested, and I'll be happy to share it.
Thank you. And actually building on that, Amy, I just want to invite everyone who's here that if you have comments about resolutions, ideas, or items that you'd like to see on the agenda, ANC3F is very open. And, I hope everyone understands that the issues that we have on our agenda reflect, what we've heard from the community, but it can always be more and be better. So we really welcome you to please submit anything that you'd like to hear more about, questions you have about things that are happening in DC government. And we would love to make sure that everyone is feeling heard and has a voice on the agenda. And Commissioner Iglesias will put our joint email in the chat as well as our individual emails, but they're always just our SMD3FO 6@anc.dc.gov. Okay, so moving on then, Commissioner Hewitt isn't here. I believe former Commissioner Hewitt. I believe Paul Harrison, Streets and Sidewalks, also is not here tonight, and I'm going to give Commissioner Bear's update for parks and watersheds. So I'm just going to read, sorry, what he has to say. This is the Linian Gully project update. The work activities started at the beginning of March 2025. The contractor has fully constructed 3 of the 6 cascade structures to be built. The spillway gully has also been completed. Shrub plantings are anticipated in May 2025 after all stream structures are completed, and the tree plantings are anticipated in October 2025, probably to wait until it's not so hot. Hope those shrubs will be okay. Let's see, we're gonna get to DC water later. Okay, that's all he has. And now to schools and universities, Commissioner Guzman.
We'll have a special report a little bit later on that has to do with schools. But I also just wanted to report that I had a great meeting with Steve McManus at Edmund Burke School. And the Pollinator Project has captured their imaginations, and they have a student, actually a couple students, that are putting together a grant proposal for us involving a pollinator garden in front of Edmund Burke facing Connecticut. So
That's
anyway,
another moment where we're going to connect all the dots. That's Venice Main Street. That's the Pollinator Project. That's the ANC grants.
exactly.
That's great.
So I was really happy. He's very, complimentary of Gloria and Venice Main Street, and anyway, everyone else. So I just thought it was a happy thing. I was really delighted to meet with him and have him tell me that. So our ANC should be expecting that grant proposal shortly.
That's great. Grants accepted from all ages of constituents, and encouraged from young people who are trying to do stuff that's exciting for the neighborhood. Commissioner Rothman.
Oh, just connecting the dots one step further, UDC donated some lovely bushes to their pollinator garden as well. So yay.
Just keeps going. We could just spend all evening connecting the dots, but instead we're going to move on to the regular agenda and DDOT's safe routes to school. connects our dots to, I know that the pollinator program has been active in March. But Commissioner Guzman, let me turn that over to you to introduce or no, I guess it's who I'll introduce her. Sorry, Gina Arlotto from Department of Transportation. I don't know, it's a school, it's a street, it's a safety.
I know. I was caught up.
Gina.
I have not had the
Welcome
pleasure
from
of
everybody.
meeting Regina
Thank
yet,
you.
but hello, Regina. Welcome.
Hello. Hello. Please call me Gina.
Gina. Yes.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be here tonight and talking to us about safe routes to school, which is something we've talked about a lot over time. So we're so excited that DDOT is bringing this focus to getting students to march safely.
Yes. I do have a very quick PowerPoint presentation that I emailed. If you want me to present it, it helps, kind of just helps everyone visualize and kind of cement in their head what we're trying to do here.
Absolutely.
Great.
Give me 10 seconds and I will bring that up.
So I'll just do a quick introduction of myself. My name is Gina Arlotto, district resident since '94, but over here on Capitol Hill. Have been working on safe routes to school issues since I wrote the grant for my own children's school to get a safe routes to school program back in it was like 2007 or something kind of crazy, but time flies. So as you may or may not know, Murch Elementary School has been chosen to be one of our action plan schools for the second round of schools. We've been trying to do about 20 to 25 school locations these last few years. We did have a program doing these planning studies back in 2020 through 2022. Then we and of course that was during the pandemic, so it was really challenging because not many kids were walking to school. Anyway, we persevered, and then we had a little bit of a hiatus as we got a new contract written and some new funding. So the overview for this program, I'm going to go over what our goals are, what it actually entails, and how will Murch and the school community be involved. I'm going to go over the things that we say are in our toolbox. I'm not going to be designing any protected bike lanes. Unfortunately, I can't do any of that. But we kind of take the low-hanging fruit around a school. So the program goals for this, of course, are to get more kids and their families to be able to walk and bicycle safely to school. And I mean, if you think about it, everybody's a pedestrian at some point, whether you're dropping your child off at the end of the block and then walking to the school, or if you're just flat out walking from your home to the school. If you maybe can, have your child ride next to you on a bike on the sidewalk. These are things that improve the safety. When we found that when we improve the safety for the smallest residents of our city, we're really improving the safety for everyone. So we do want to encourage more students and their parents to walk and bicycle to school. It boosts physical activity and health, of course, by reducing pollution and traffic congestion. This program is prioritizing underserved communities traditionally lacking in transportation investments. And actually, for DC, it's just everywhere. We do at least one school per ward each round of this program. And we try to weight it between charter schools and DC public schools. We have a prioritization model that we are following these last couple of years, which actually gives an intersection ranking based on the closest intersection to the school that maybe has a high rate of crashes or serious injury. Of course, for Murch, that's Connecticut Avenue. Maybe not that immediate intersection right there next to, in the first block or so from the school, but Connecticut Avenue is considered one of our high injury corridors. You can go to the next slide. So this program, we are going to take a deep dive and look at the safety and existing infrastructure around the school zone. That school zone was actually increased. It used to be about 200 feet around a school, which was really about the immediate school block. City Council then wrote a law that's, I believe it's called the Safe Routes for Students Act or something, and it actually expanded the boundary, which I was really glad to see, because you really need to have more of the blocks surrounding a school, not just the immediate blocks on the school. We are focusing on quick build, traffic calming, and safety improvements. We also, as part of this program, we will give and have designed and developed engagement and educational materials, which will help promote safe habits for the students and for the schools, different little activities that they can do so that kids and students are familiar with different terms of infrastructure. Also, there's materials for what are, the top 10 things you should not do when you're dropping off your child in a car, which is usually don't do it on the other side of the street, which that is like the most dangerous thing a parent can do. And I see it every single time I go out to observe a school. I almost have a heart attack every time, because the parents pull over, think it's clear, wave their kid across, and inevitably there's a car that's turning from the cross street that doesn't know that the child is running out in the street. So these projects will be things that we're going to do with paint or with signage, with minor roadway and some sidewalk improvements. Okay, you can go to the next slide. So within this project, we are going to be meeting with school communities. The invitations and the announcements of the schools that have been chosen through our prioritization process for this program, those letters have already been sent out. The consultants now are trying to set up meetings with the school principals, and we know it's a terrible time. They're just getting back from spring break, but we are going to try to get at least half of the school observations and site walks done before the end of this school year. So there will be the initial meeting with the school community, and that's the principal, that can be the ANC commissioner. You're all going to get invite. You're all going to see when we are trying to get those meetings on people's calendars. I will say we cannot meet everybody's availability, unfortunately, because we really want to talk to the principal and the parents at the school. So hopefully, at the very least, the principal or an assistant principal will be in attendance at the meeting and can tell us what they're observing on a daily basis. But all of the invites do go out to the ANCs, the mayor's office, your local council member's office also. This document we will end up with what we are calling an action plan with safety recommendations. Then we also are having our consultant do designs for the short-term improvements. And for the first time, at least in this contract, with this second iteration of the contract, we did not have this ability in the first 2 years of the contract in 2020 to 2022. We actually have our own construction team actually building out these projects. So we are able to control the timeline a lot faster. I'm sad and disappointed to say that a couple of things that we've been wanted to get on and installed for Eaton 4 years ago, we're still trying to get done, because it had to go into a construction queue with overall DDOT and kind of get fit into other departments' budgets. But now we don't have that problem. So schools that we studied last spring and did the recommendations and the designs, we have actually already constructed the the safety recommendations. Those have already been constructed for 3 schools, and we're getting ready to do the next 3 schools this next month. So the hope is that it will be a year from when we begin the program and studying the school in the spring of each year, that by the fall of the next school year, we will be able to have constructed that work. So step 1, we're having the introductory meeting with the school administrators. I had one today for Randall Highlands in Southeast. We do have an online caregiver survey. We will distribute those QR codes, and it would be great if you all can push those out to your networks. We are trying to focus on the questions are very specific to how you're getting back and forth to school. Step 2, we will do a quick check-in with the school to kind of talk about maybe with some of the recommendations and the strategies that we have. The action plan draft, which is the actual document, that goes to us for DDOT. We will end the parent and caregiver survey. Step 3 is we finalize the safety designs, get the construction scheduled and on the books, and then we will send out the final action plan, which is in a PowerPoint similar to this one, so that they can share those pretty easily with their communities, and we'll push those out to the ANCs. You guys can use them. It's going to have a lot. It'll be a deep dive on some statistics and numbers and that kind of thing. But it is in a PowerPoint format. It's not a document, because nobody ever reads those, not even me, really, once we're done. The construction is dependent on existing utility permit conflicts. We are finding a lot. As you all well know, there's a lot of PEPCO work, there's a lot of DC water work going on, and that is pushing some of our schools back. And of course, right now we are in the prime construction season, which is why we are kind of really going as fast as we can to get through some schools, so that we have this nice window of the good weather, which basically will end probably in late October. Okay, next slide. So as I mentioned, these will be things that we can design and construct relatively quickly within a year. It does accomplish these are all very proven, effective measures to slow drivers down and to make the roadways overall more safe for children and other community members to make their way around the neighborhood. Next slide. So what's in our toolbox? We will do a lot of signage. That includes, we are changing part of that Safe Routes for Students Act mandated the changing of speed limits throughout the city for school zones. We have a couple of different signs. The sign on the left is a speed limit sign for local roads, mine for arterials and above. So local roads are supposed to be 15 miles per hour between 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. every day. This is the law. This is a law that the council did. We didn't have anything to do with this part. The school speed limit for arterials, such as Connecticut Avenue is one of our arterials. It has a window of time, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. if you are within that school zone, that 350-foot boundary. We can also put in speed humps on local streets. Again, we cannot put any what we call vertical traffic calming elements like a speed hump. We cannot put those on arterials or even minor arterials. We are going to be doing some curb extensions, which, as you know, some of those are probably already in your neighborhood. It helps slow a car turn down. You know, the district has our beautiful grid with a bunch of diagonal streets that cut through it. So it creates kind of just like a slip turn lane or a slip lane that allows a car to maintain too high of a speed as they enter into a school zone. And remember, this is all just things that are going to be going into our school zones. Okay, next slide. One of my favorite things, and you love them or you hate them, the flex posts for crosswalk and intersection daylighting. I love them because not only do they physically prevent a car from parking directly on or in the crosswalk, which I see it all the time. I have seen parents park their car directly in the crosswalk as a crossing guard is trying to navigate around children in wheelchairs and walkers trying to get around up the curb ramp, and if somebody has their car parked there. So flex posts, we do have a mandate to not use as many, and we have found, we've been testing this device out for a number of years, and we realized that we really don't need as many. What's nice about the flex posts that we are using now is they are much more durable. We're not going to be using as many. They still will do the trick. And you know, if somebody bumps into them, if a moving truck is coming down the street and they need to make a turn, if they bump into them, it's okay. They're meant to flex. That's why they're called flex posts. And so as I note in this one part, this blue area down here on the slide, is that this is not taking away any parking that is not already illegal. So we are just preventing people from parking illegally, basically. So this is the DCMR, as well as our design and engineering manual, which gives a specific guidance on what we are supposed to be implementing and helping enforce the requirement, because we can't have police and traffic control officers all over the city giving out tickets to people parking in crosswalks. We are going to hopefully be doing some mid-block crossings. I think Merch might already have one, actually.
We have one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so those are the kinds of things that we find are pretty successful. We also, one of the things, we will be looking at alternative areas for drop off and pickup locations. Most schools throughout the city, they have one entrance in the middle of the block, and everybody wants to get as close to that door as possible. So it creates a real, and it's for the pre-K 3 kids who have to be escorted in, all the way up to the 6th graders or the 5th graders or the 8th graders, whatever the school breakdown is. And so, and I keep saying, if a parent could actually drive through the front door and drop their kid off in the hallway outside their classroom, they would totally do that. So by moving and distributing the grades perhaps to different doors, it really helps relieve the pressure on that one point in the middle of the block. So now we cannot mandate to the school administrators that they use this door instead of that door, but we will try to identify places that if they could, and if they want to think about it, we would suggest another entrance. And this particularly helps as the district move towards free all-day pre-K 3 programs. It really changed how people drop off their kids. Because think about it, when you had a kindergartner or a 1st grader, you could kind of pull up and they could hop out of the car and run into the school themselves. With pre-K 3, 4, and 5-year-old kids, they now often need to be actually physically taken into the building and signed in or signed out. So those parents need a few extra minutes to park and get into the school. So if we can identify a door near the pre-K 3 wing, perhaps, or the pre-K 3, pre-K 4 classrooms on the 1st floor, we can sign that block face with a 15-minute parking allowance, while we leave the front part of the school kind of open for kind of a kiss and ride, drop and roll kind of situation. Okay, so next slide. Sorry, I'm trying to get through this because I know you all have a lot still to get on. So our field walk goals, we will.
This is really great. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, this is great information, and it's really important to a lot of the people who are here. So.
Oh, I'm so glad. Okay,
thank you.
So the field walk goals, we're going to all show up with our consultant team. I will be there. We might have some other DDOT folks there. We will collect the data. We will do observations. We will think about how we're going to make these rules safer. We are inventorying all the school zone signage and any existing traffic calming that we already have. Like I said, we may kind of identify a couple places maybe where we could use a side door for the pre-K 3 kids, or vice versa. And of course, getting and interviewing the school administrators, the parents, the caregivers, and your crossing guards. Those are the best. That's the best data we can get. So we love to talk to those folks. Please come out and join us for that if you can. We will do a morning and an afternoon observation. So if you can't catch us in the morning, maybe catch us in the afternoon. We'll take tons of pictures and obviously collect just general safety concerns. Next slide. Oh, so that's all. That's my spiel. I will say I am not in charge of crossing guards. Everybody wants more. And I will also put in a plug for our crossing guards, which we call safety technicians in the district. It's a very, very hard job today. It's a very, very hard job to recruit for. It used to be, I mean, it's a extremely part-time split shift position. It used to be kind of an easy sell for a retired person who lives in the neighborhood. Sure, I'll put on a vest and go hold a little stop sign and help kids get across the street. That is their only job. Their only job is to get a child from one side of the street to the other side of the street in the crosswalk. They do not give out tickets. They are not to direct traffic. We have, I think just since January, I think I've heard of 2 safety techs get hit. Their feet get run over. They have stuff thrown at them. So suffice it to say, the elderly folks, they would like to see their 90th birthday. They would not really want to be in the hospital or injured because they were trying to be a crossing guard with the stress and the attitudes of some of the drivers out there today. Next up from a safety tech is a traffic control officer called TCOs. Those are folks that are out sometimes at Nats Park. They can direct traffic and they also can give out non-moving violations. So if a car is double parked or blocking traffic or parked in the crosswalk, they can give out a ticket for that. They cannot give out ticket for speeding. So anyway, just a big shout out for all of the crossing guards who are making it work in this day and age, because I've been out there with them and it's pretty scary. And I'm kind of a militant pedestrian. I will go out and walk out anywhere, but to stand in the middle of a crosswalk around some of our schools that are on arterials, that is not a fun job and it's extremely stressful. So be glad if you have one, maybe you have two. I didn't check to see how many you had.
We have one who should win all the awards.
Oh,
Never misses a
good.
day.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
Mr.
Good.
Joe.
Yeah, good. Excellent. So you're
If
very
anyone
welcome.
else from DDOT is on, you will always get my calls telling everyone how great Mr. Joe is.
I will also, if maybe Adrian, you want to drop this in the chat, our website for, if you want to learn more about our program. I'm trying to find it myself.
Gina, when we can get that in the chat later, so don't worry about getting it now. But when should we expect to hear from you guys for the initial meetings?
I believe you should have seen something. I'm not sure if is there an ANC commissioner for March?
Yeah.
There is. Who is that? Because
Claudette David.
Claudette David.
Oh, Claudette. Okay, yes. So I
She's
believe
not here, but Amy and I are both on the Streets and Sidewalks Committee, and we've both been really involved. And Commissioner Guzman is a longtime supporter of Merch and a former board member.
So if I will go back and see when that initial invite went out. I don't know that, because I know the initial announcements that the schools had gotten the program went out a couple of weeks ago, and then it was spring break, so some of the program managers held on to their invites. But if it has gone out, I will make sure it goes to Ms. Guzman and who else did you say? The sidewalk committee.
Well, I'll write you an email. So don't feel like you have to do that now. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And just, does anybody have any questions about Safe Routes to School? This is amazing. We're so glad you're doing it. I think maybe it would be interesting I'll also email you if we can see some of, get a list of the schools where it has been done. So we might take a peek at what some of the possibilities are. That might be helpful in leading up to the meeting if, members of the parent community, can just quickly take a peek at where it's been done elsewhere.
Yes.
Does anyone have any questions? Yes. Christoph Wassmer from DDOT.
Yeah, from DDOT. Hi. Good evening.
It's a team
I just
asking
wanted
a
to
team
introduce myself. My name is Christoph Wassmer. I serve as the District Department of Transportation's Ward 2 liaison, but while Christian is out on paternity leave for the next 2 months, I'll be covering Ward 3. So if you have any questions DDOT related, please send them my way. I will be dropping my email in the chat. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, DDOT. Great. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate this attention to Merch and especially the widening of the perimeter. I mean, right, if we just had to really worry about Ellicott and Davenport Street, it really wouldn't be the issue that it is. But, most of our kids are crossing Reno and crossing Connecticut. Otherwise, there wouldn't be enough students. So those, in Connecticut is a death trap for a person of any age. So thanks for your attention to that.
Yes, of course. And feel free, I'll put my email in also. Feel free to reach out to me. I can usually track stuff down also, although Christoph is really good at that too. So But
Yeah,
I'm always
kudos to
happy
the whole
talk about
DDOT
it.
team, really. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Okay, now Commissioner Guzman, Guzman, you are on for introducing someone.
Yes, thank you. I'm really pleased to be able to introduce Jennifer Sousa Dodds. She is an assistant ombudsman in the Office of the Ombudsman for the State Board of Education. And I hope, Jennifer, you got my message about emailing your, oh, you did. Yes, great. Perfect.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. I also just personally want to say prior to this meeting, Ms. Sousa Dodds and I had a really lengthy conversation, and I was so impressed with her passion and dedication for what she does and how she represents the office. And I really believe it's an underutilized and really sort of unknown resource that families in the district have. And she also has a slide that is very particular to Ward 3, which is also very interesting. So anyway, with that introduction, Ms. Sousa Dodds, please take it away.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Ms. Guzman, for the introduction and also for the opportunity to be speaking here to your community about our office. I'm very passionate about the work that we do here and serve families and communities and schools overall to navigate public education concerns here in your schools. All right, so can I just go to the next slide, please? All right. Tonight, I'll be giving a brief overview of our office, who we are, what we do, and how we support families in navigating school related concerns in GCPS schools, GC public schools, and no public placements overall. But before I dive in, I really wanted to give an introduction of our team, specifically the ombudsman of the office, Kimberly Humphrey. She leads us in the wonderful work that we do here. Again, I'm Jennifer Sousa Dodds, the Assistant Ombudsman for Special Education. Part of my role, I work directly with families and schools to address concerns, specific concerns to special education. All right, can I go to the next slide? I also wanted to highlight Charlotte Fernoy. She is the advisor for the office. She's also attending this meeting here with us tonight. Okay, just go to the next slide. All right, who we are. So I know, as Ms. Guzman said, the office, a lot of people are not aware of our office, especially the word ombudsman can sound a little weird. The word actually comes from Swedish and means entrusted representative. For us, the office is an independent and confidential office housed under the DC State Board of Education. We provide impartial conflict resolution services for families with students enrolled at GCPS schools, GC public schools, and no public placement. What do? We serve as a resource for families and schools, again, that need support in navigating and addressing school-based concerns. Additionally, we also ensure equitable access to instruction, and we do that by developing policy recommendations based on what we hear from community members through our casework here at the Ombudsman Office. All right, our work, we have served more than 6,000 families across the years in the last 10 years here in the city. We serve as a bridge for communication between families and schools to find different ways to address their concerns that keep students' interest at center. We also engage in outreach and trainings. For us, it's really important to connect with community members. And the way that we do that is through outreach events and also the GC Special Education Hub trainings. I will talk more about the SPED Hub later in this presentation, but those trainings are developed for parents, caregivers, and community overall to not only increase the awareness of our services, but also to foster a meaningful relationship with families and education stakeholders. Policy recommendations, again, thanks, sorry, no worries. Policy recommendations, again, based on what we hear from community members through our casework and also through our trainings, we develop and propose policy recommendations to address systemic issues that we hear here from families and through the work that we do. Regarding to and lastly, the conflict resolution services, our office, we provide facilitated meeting, restorative justice practices, shadow diplomacy, and mediation. For example, we have a partnership with the Attorney General and GCPS schools in order to address attendance concerns. Here is not only to identify the barriers, but our office also provide mediation to explore potential resources that families and students need in order for the students to return to the classrooms. Now, next slide. All right, here, families, schools, and community members overall can connect their office with concerns related to academic progress, attendance, safety, or if they need resources in order to navigate public education overall. But they can also connect with us with concerns related to discipline, communication, enrollment, special education, and bullying. Okay, so here is, again, a brief overview of the services we can provide. We provide information and guidance on existing local and federal education policies, support families in navigating our educational process, partner with families and schools to brainstorm potential strategies for resolving educational issues, also promote a positive collaboration between our families and schools. And again, based on the trends that we see through our casework and what we hear from community members, we report those trends to the GC State Board of Education leadership in order to address systemic issues. All right, so why there are a lot of services that we provide, there are some things that we cannot support families in schools. One, for example, we do not advocate for any individual or cause, but I do like to say that we do advocate for the compliance of existing policies and procedures that keep students' interest at center. We do not break confidentiality with the exceptions in cases where there is harm towards students or toward themselves, like towards the person or others, so we have to disclose information. We do not conduct formal investigations. We do not make decisions for DC government or DC schools. We do not create, change, or set aside established policies. Again, we develop policy recommendations, but we do not have authority to change existing policies. We do not testify in formal process, offer legal advice. If necessary, we refer families to organizations that can provide that support. And finally, we do not determine guilt, innocence, or right or in wrong. All right, so here is the snapshot that Ms. Guzman mentioned previously. Here is some summary of the case that we received from Ward 3 last school year. Here we connect with 37 families regarding with cases from Ward 3. The top 3 concerns were special education with 15 cases, safety with 10 cases, and community engagement with 4 cases. That trend, it is a trend that we see across the city from the case that we received, also from other wards as well. All right, so for us here at the Ombudsman Office, it's really important that parents, guardians, caregivers, and schools feel really empowered and better informed after working with us. We do understand that sometimes the family will not get their resolution that they initially wanted when they connect with our office. But when that happens, we'll definitely provide information, tools, and resources that can help them to make their best informed decision for the next step, and also help them understand existing policies and rights that are available to their students, so they can become the students' best advocate throughout the education processes. All right, so the GC Special Education Hub Services, we are very proud of that initiative of the Ombudsman Office. The SPED Hub was created to provide support for family, schools, and other community members in navigating special education processes in GCPS schools, GC public schools, and public placements. The way they do that, it is by providing virtual in-person trainings in English and in Spanish. Those trainings are developed for communities overall to address the top special education questions that they have. They also provide one-on-one support and communication through the hotline, email, contact form. Those services are available in any language, including ASL, and we are able to provide those services with our translation support. Finally, they have great online and hard copy resources that are developed to support them throughout their special education journey. Those materials are available in 11 languages. And if you go to the next slide, you can access those resources by, you can access those resources by scanning this QR code or accessing the SPED Hub website, which is a great resource to learn more about special education and, again, access those great resources and also know more about their upcoming trainings that they have on their calendar. And next slide, please. All right, so where to find us? Again, I said we love to connect with community members and be present in the community. Here are some events and trainings that are coming up for us. Please feel free to join us and also share it with your community as well. I will just highlight the next training here for this the hub is the Family Empowerment Series. Which will happen on April 28th, and it is all about academic support. This training will be led by Hannah Blumenfeld-Love. She is the manager at the SPED Hub, and she's great. And she always say that all of her trainings, she loves all of her trainings, but that one is really dear to her heart. So if you wanted to join, that will happen on April 28th. And next slide. All right, so that's it for me, but here is how you can connect direct with me. Here is the email, my phone number, but you can also connect with our office hotline line, email, and also website. All right, yeah, that's basically it for me. Let me know if you have any questions.
I actually have a question. I sort of understand how you are a resource for special ed and for safety. Can you explain like an example of how you're a resource in terms of community engagement? Because that was one of your top 3.
Yes, absolutely. So so the way that we work with families in schools, let's say a family has concerns about safety, like, some sort of like discipline or incident happen. The way that we can support like family, like the family is not aware on the procedures or like even like the rights that are available to her and like to the family, to the students, we can connect it with the school to develop, like to explore potential options, like let's say a safety plan. Let's say that is 2 students within the classroom that are having some challenges or safety concerns. We can work with both families and schools to create a safety plan that can address those concerns and keep the students safe inside of the classroom.
And so then do you extrapolate that out where you create that you like let other families know within the school that there is a safety plan that exists?
Yeah, so
that other people have access to, or is it more specific to that particular family? Is that's what I'm asking sort of about community engagement.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so the community engagement, when we talk about safety, we share like the policies and procedures that are in place that communities can have access. So for example, throughout our annual reports, we provide recommendations that can support families to address their safety concerns. And throughout our trainings as well, we provide those information resources that family can be aware that they can access to that if they need. Does
Like
it
the
answer your question?
now I understand. It's like the last slide. Sorry.
Yeah, no, yeah, we do. Yeah, like, my apologies if I did address your question, Isha, but
No,
yeah,
no, 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 no. I don't think I actually, I think it could have understood then. Probably everybody else on this call understood that but me. Sorry. That's very helpful. Does anyone else have questions that are maybe a better question than the question I just asked?
A question, but this is Charlotte Flournoy with the Office of the Ombudsman of Public Education as well. I just want to emphasize on the fact that our office serves in a very confidential capacity. So in an instance where there is a safety plan that's being implemented, the school community would not know that information. It would only be the parents, the school administrators, and any school staff that needs to be aware because they're also included in the safety plan. But it is not something that's made public that other, folks, students, or parents are aware of.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlotte.
Thanks for clarifying that.
I have a question. What if there was an issue of, if there was an issue of student on student aggression, the safety plans that you're mentioning now, would those be done? And also, do you have to, what happens when you don't get cooperation from both families? What if one family wants to cooperate and the other one does not?
Yeah, that's a great question. So our services besides confidential is also voluntary, like both sides needs to be willing to participate. When it comes especially to safety concern between students, if that is something that was investigated, was acknowledged that is some really serious safety concerns in place, the way that our office would work with the school is one, to make sure that the discipline and safety policies are being implemented. And if that is a need to elevate that case to another office within DCPS or school leadership, we will do that. And definitely, if that is, again, a imminent safety concern in place, we'll definitely work with both families and develop a safety plan or even explore potential strategies that are in place that can be implemented.
I see. Okay. One final question on that kind of same vein. Currently, the policy in DCPS is that if there is student-on-student aggression in the classroom, there is not a mandatory reporting protocol to the families. What can the ombudsman do to I know that you have said that you can advocate to the State Board of Education for policy change suggestions or things like that. This is just one example, but if there were other sort of policies that perhaps constituents in our ANC wanted to sort of have questions about or see changed or whatever, how could they partner with your office to see that happen?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think, like I mentioned throughout the presentation, we not only through our annual reports to the DC to the DC State Board of Education, but our office, especially Kimberly Humphrey, the ombudsman, she's also in connecting with council members and other stakeholders at the leadership level when it comes to public education. So based on what we hear trends, not only through our casework, but through events like that we are connecting with ANC commissioners, community, will definitely elevate that and report to them. And that can spark further conversation at the leadership level that can address those concerns that we are listening from the community members.
Okay. Great. Thank you. And in full disclosure, there was a situation with my daughter in a public school where there was teacher on student aggression, and eventually it was handled correctly, but only after I did get your ombudsman's office involved. And so, I feel like one of the things that your office can do is make sure that teachers, administrators, others involved in DCPS are actually doing and following through with what they are supposed to do. And so you sort of serve as a like a stopgap, or sort of it's almost a mediator to make sure that things are going as they should.
Yes, and I'm sorry to hear about your experience and your daughter's experience navigating, public education, and especially to those concerns. Yeah, I think the way that our office is very intentional to work is, even though we don't have the authority to change things, we have the influence to communicate again, and not only communicate, but elevate to higher up on what we're seeing, especially to those concerns. If that is a student and teacher aggression, we will definitely connect not only at this leadership at school level, but at the local education agency, like GCPS central office, or other agencies that oversight the school, in order to report what is happening, and maybe further form of investigation can be put in place in order to address those concerns.
Yeah, it's more of an accountability thing. Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, do any of the other commissioners have questions? Sorry.
I don't have a question, but I will let anybody know that I'm about to share all the relevant contact info for the Ombudsman's office in the chat shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be here and for providing us all that information. I know that that will be helpful to people in the community. And thanks for what you do.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much,
you.
everyone. Have a good
Thank
one.
you.
So now we're going to go to the DC Fringe Festival. Pinky Swear Productions, New Sass, and Theater Prometheus.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having us. This is going to be a little bit of a left turn from the really important stuff that you guys are talking about, but it's something we need
a well-rounded neighborhood, and it's time to rounding it out.
That's right.
This is great.
That's right. You need somewhere to go and have some fun too.
This is like the fun part of the ANC meeting tonight.
Hooray!
I know.
Well, my name is Karen Lang, and I'm the artistic director of Pinky Swear Productions. With me are Tracy Airbacker, who is co-artistic director of Theater Prometheus, and Aubrey O'Connor, who is the artistic director for New Sass Productions. We have a PowerPoint, yay! But it's very short, and Adrian is giving us he is our lovely assistant as well. So when we will get that started.
And artistic and beautiful.
Yes, that's called Canva. So what we are proposing for this year is called District Fringe. And what is a Fringe Festival? Some of you may be familiar, some of you aren't. So we come in from the small theater world of DC, the DC area theater folks. A Fringe Festival is something that started in Edinburgh, Scotland. And what happened was, in the 1960s, there was a very hoity-toity official Shakespearean theater festival, and other people who were not quite on the thousands and thousands of dollar budget levels also wanted to have shows. And they were told they were not welcome, so they made their own festival on the fringes of the festival. So that's where the name came from. For the past 20 years, there has been a Capital Fringe Festival in DC, which would compose every summer up to, at their height, they had about 120 shows going on every July. And those 120 shows, each individual production would get 5 performances. Performances typically were under 2 hours, so usually like 70, 80 minutes tops. And they would run all day long, Saturdays, Sundays, and some weeknights. What this is important, why it's important is that the 3 theater companies represented here all got their start here. And it allowed us as young, new artists to try our hand at producing something. And the reason we were able to do this is because it cost less than $1,000 to get 5 performances of a show. We didn't have to rent any equipment. We didn't have to rent any the space for the show. We got to apply. There was an application fee. We paid a fee just to be part of the festival. And then we got back a percentage of the ticket sales for that. Almost anybody who wants to put on a show can somehow, raise $1,000 during the year. And sometimes it wasn't even that much. I mean, it depends on whether you had volunteer staff or not. Well, we all came from that, but that festival ended this year. The Capitol Fringe Festival was an amazing resource for us over the years, but they kind of abruptly ended it. And we just said, we can't have this as a resource that disappears. There are still too many artists out there with something to say. And we wanted to pay forward our success to other folks. And I'm going to put this over on Tracy to talk a little bit more about that and our vision.
So our vision for this is to create a yearly celebration of performing arts by the people for the people. We want to make it more possible for more people to make more art in the DC area. Every time art gets harder to make, we lose the voices first that we can least afford to lose, people who are more marginalized, people who might not have institutional support or a ton of money, but they have something very important to say, and we don't want to lose those voices. So we envision a festival that celebrates the incredible diversity of DC culture and DC artists. And we are hoping to find a home for that, that we can carry forward from now and into the future. We have 20 years behind us of festivals where we have audience members who are looking for this, who are saying, wait, there isn't a Fringe festival this year? Where are we going to go? And we have the answer to that, which is District Fringe.
Mm-hmm. And we can go on to the next. All right. What did Capitol Fringe do? Capitol Fringe has produced over 1,000 shows over the years. And in a single year, they sold 20,000 tickets. And that was back in the early teens. And that was a pretty incredible thing to see the community come together for that. And they launched an entire generation of small theater, of people who have been coming up. Their theaters are growing. They've moved into leadership positions at some of the larger theaters in the area. And one of the things that was special about it that we want to bring back is that there was a huge amount of neighborhood traffic and created vitality in the neighborhoods that it was housed in. So for many years, it was housed in the New York Ave area by the convention center. And thousands of people would go hang out there, and then they'd go to the restaurants, and then they'd go to the bars nearby. And it created a real hub for the summer. The theater kids called it, theater camp. And then the audiences got to know for a very inexpensive ticket price, got to know a whole bunch of different things and got to sample a bunch of different art they wouldn't otherwise have seen. We think that community's part of it, of creating a place in a neighborhood, is one of the most important parts. Okay, we talked a little bit about who we are. Like I said, I'm Karen from Pinky Swear Productions. We started in 2009 at the Capitol Fringe Festival. Since then, we have won many awards. We have produced both in and out of the festival, and I took a show to the original Edinburgh Festival last year.
And we're Theater Prometheus. I was just going to give the quick for Theater Prometheus. We've been around we're in our 11th season now, have a long and proud history with Capitol Fringe, dearly departed, and really delighted to be bringing forth this effort and paying it forward to the next generation of artists.
And I can chime in for New Sass. New Sass was founded at Capitol Fringe almost 16 years ago now. And since then, we have won several Capitol Fringe audience awards, as well as several now Helen Hayes recommendations and nominations, including one that we received alongside Tracy for one of our shows this past fall, and one alongside Karen for one of our shows this past fall. So I'd like to think that combined, we're a real testament to what happens when you invest in your artists and your community. When our community creates the space to allow us to grow, we grow into something really wonderful.
All right, what do we do next? Oh yes, memory lane pictures. This is to give you an idea of the variety of the kinds of shows that you see at Fringe festivals. We had a show called The Last Burlesque, which took place, it was a play that took place in a dying burlesque house. One of the Pinky Swear shows also on here was our Cabaret XXX. It was not dirty, it was simply, we swore a lot, but it was a rock cabaret about breakups. And then I think Prometheus has one in there too.
Yeah, right in the middle is our best comedy of 2017, I think, summer of 2017, Capitol Fringe Abortion Road Trip, which was such an incredible opportunity for us to reach just huge numbers of people. We sold out our run completely and did an extension with Capitol Fringe as well.
Yep, we're all award winners and we all had an amazing time. Go on to the next slide. All right, what do we need? Well, this is a thing where Adrienne and Gloria have been extremely wonderful in helping to sort of help us get to a place that we need. What we are asking for is, what we're looking for to make this all happen this summer is 3 or 4 venues in a central location. And this is a wonderful neighborhood. If we have, if we're lucky enough to be able to utilize UDC or other parts of the area and partner with some of the other places that already exist there, we can create opportunities for up to 20 shows with 5 performances each. What that brings with it is jobs. We'll be hiring people to run venues, to run concessions, to manage, to stage manage. This will provide hundreds and hundreds of paid positions given the number of shows that will be in it, and will also require 4 people to go to make the festival happen.
And in addition to that space, we also really want to build a community space. The Fringe is at its most powerful when there's a central community space, whether it's a bar or just like an area where people are coming to hang out. They can, enjoy a beverage, talk with artists, and take a breather between the shows, which allows us to partner with local area businesses. But that central community, when Fringe was at its height, it was the place to be and be seen from DC Theater. You would just go, even if you didn't have tickets to see a show, you'd go hang out on a Friday night and get to meet new audience members, get to meet new artists, hear about the shows, then maybe plan your next day. It was really a place that people wanted to be, and we would love to bring that to a neighborhood like Van Ness.
We have had an outpouring of love from the community. It has been a real breath of fresh air this year. When Fringe went away, everyone was sad. When we picked up the torch and said, no, it's not going away, we're not going to let it. We've gotten so many people to step forward as volunteers, people who have applied to be in shows, and also the support of other institutions in town. Woolly Mammoth Theater. So here you see an example of a theater and a school and an advocacy organization all falling in to, volunteer their support. Woolly Mammoth is one of the biggest theaters in the area, and it is an equity house. They reached out to us to talk about marketing partnerships and allow us to, trade, basically trade back and forth, and also give us some support to support the, up and coming local theater. The Theater Lab School has an Arts Institute for Creative Advancement, and we can partner with them to mentor young professionals and support the next generation of artists. Students will fill work, things like internships and also paid roles within the organization. And then Theater Washington, who are also the people who give out the Helen Hayes Awards, which is the DC Tonys every year, are also, good friends of ours. We have worked with them for many years in the small theater community. Will also be helping us with promotion and, helping us get in front of people who go to other kinds of theater. Well, thank you. Theater people are weird. We're really appreciate you, letting us talk a little bit about this thing, which we're passionate about. And we hope to bring to Van Ness a really wonderful cultural event this summer that will, provide some enjoyment and a walkable place to go and see some good art for a low price during the summer.
Thank you so much.
Add on quickly, it's a shot in the dark here, but I'm just willing to bet that if anybody's also been helpful in facilitating this, it's been Juanita Gray, who's in here right now, but who's one of our
Thank you.
very helpful contacts at UDC. But just wanted to give a shout out to Juanita, who I'm not sure if you've heard about this, but I can only assume you definitely have and have played a part in this. Nonetheless,
yeah, Gloria and Juanita, I think, are still both here. And I would just say thank you for considering our neighborhood to bring you know, both art and it sounds like some incredible economic development opportunity over the summer when surely we could use it. I mean, it's just it sounds like a win-win. And so thank you for considering our neighborhood. I don't know if Gloria or Juanita, I think Gloria, you chimed in a little bit, but if either of you, I know you guys are both working hard on this. And I don't know if there's anything else to add at this point.
Well, as you know, UDC is one of our greatest, it's my number one partner. At the opening and ribbon cutting of Moms, I said, I had just talked to their staff and I just feel part of their family and very safe and secure there in my office. They really do have a mind to, you know, bring the community closer as well as bring more things to the community. And for us at Van Ness Main Street, since our founding in 2016, we have had a vision of helping UDC activate the theater. And to have this come to Van Ness is just going to connect us more with the whole theater community in DC, because the Theater of the Performing Arts and the amphitheater are such a great, beautiful resource sitting right here at Van Ness. So we're thrilled that it matches our strategy, and you know, we hope that UDC will see the value in it. And they usually, you know, host our movie nights, so we're hoping that we're just gonna switch. But anyway, so you know, and thanks to Juanita as always, because she, if I hit a brick wall, Juanita fixes it in less than 60 seconds. So thank you, Juanita, if you're still on.
Thank you, Juanita.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for taking the time to inform us about it. And we hope to see you again as you get closer to production time and telling us more about what you're going to be putting on. And congratulations for and thank you for resurrecting something that shouldn't be lost to the city. And
let
that's
us
never
know
been
how
here
we
before.
can help.
Yes,
Thank you.
Let us know what we can do. I'm a big fan of the Fringe in Edinburgh.
There are more than ample opportunities for partnership and growth in every regard to help grow this festival and grow our connection to the community, not just during the festival season, but year round, because we grew up to also become steering leaders for the Indie Stage Collective. So we are deeply connected to the growth pipeline of DC Performing Arts.
So for area students, there'd be opportunity to be involved over the summer and
absolutely. You got college kids at home who want to
yeah.
work in the arts. You got people at UDC who are in the comms and theater program. Please, we're looking for people and would love to be able to, like, you know, keep that benefit going for the neighborhood and for the school.
And we would
anybody
love
who has an underemployed college student this summer,
send them our way.
Yes. I'm our volunteer manager. I will happily talk with them.
Thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank
We
you.
really hope to see much more of you in the future.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
You too.
Thanks again.
Okay. I know we're so far behind. So I was gonna just read the names of the restaurants that are up for a liquor license renewal, so that anybody can know that these are up for renewal. If you have any issues, please let us know. I hope this is comprehensive, but it's like the number of placards that come through is a lot. So we have Honey's Italian Pizza Kitchen, Il Supremo, Politics and Prose, which is their downstairs coffee and wine situation. I could have found a better word for that. It's really lovely. Eddie Cano, Thai Pads, Valina, Tika, Comet, Bucks, Muchas Gracias, Honeys, and Hillwood. So those are the current establishments that are up for a renewal. Again, if anyone has any issue, you are welcome to speak now, or please let us know. Our email is posted in the chat and we can help you, advocate or let the business owner know if there are some issues that we need to be aware of. Thank you. Moving to the next issue. an ABCA cannabis application. Mr. Green, who we've heard from last summer and opened in, I believe, November, has a placard request for a delivery and tasting endorsement. Tasting isn't what we think it is because I asked. It means that someone can, I guess, a customer can they can open a package and let the person touch and smell the cannabis. It does not mean that they can taste it. And that is a misnomer that is in city council legislation. But
And to be clear, to give people like a practical idea of what that literally means is, for example, presently, if you were to go to Mr. Green's, you will see absolutely nothing but opaque Ziplocs and an iPad upon which to place an order. And once you place an order, they will bring it out to you in a bag. So the difference would be folks would be requesting to see the product before they've taken it home. Which is to say currently yeah, all of the cannabis products they sell are behind closed doors and are brought out to people in a waiting room.
and I don't know if Nick is here. I didn't hear from Nick regarding
Yeah.
this, so I haven't heard from anybody.
I
Nick,
am
are
here,
you here?
yes. Hey, yes,
Yeah,
hi,
Nick's
how are
here.
you? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, I think on the agenda, thank you guys, first of all. On the agenda, I think I saw it was called delivery endorsement. I just want to kind of clarify that because we already have a delivery endorsement.
Right.
Yeah,
But
so
that's
this
what the
was,
placard says.
oh, I see, interesting. This was supposed to be educational and testing. So educational meaning, we can do classes here, we can educate people, we can bring in vendors who can show people how it's done and, what's behind the scenes, et cetera. So people can actually learn what they're putting in their body. And then, as you guys mentioned, the tasting part of it where people can look at it, taste it. But one of the other things I have heard, and again, we would of course abide by whatever APCA suggests us. I thought and I heard that tasting also means like one of our vendors, and this is strictly for edibles, at least at this point, can come in, do an educational class and also show how it's made. And then like a very micro dose of it can, be passed to the customers for the tasting purposes. So before they even buy it, they can taste what it is. But again, this is something also new,
We have
and
to
I'm
talk
not
to ABCA. That's not what I asked them about that.
sure.
They told me that was not a part of it.
Okay.
But, Nick, in our relationship with you, you've been faithful to our settlement agreement and you did, you and I spent, just so everybody on the phone knows, spent a lot of time
I know.
negotiating a settlement agreement. My understanding is you've been faithful to that settlement agreement. So
Yeah.
I would, I guess I would expect that whatever ABCA tells
Of
us
course.
is what a tasting endorsement means.
Of course. And
Yeah.
again, and I know, so we have exchanged some emails, and I'm sorry if my emails didn't come across in a good tone or a manner that it was supposed to. But we have been abiding by whatever settlement agreement said. And if any one of you have visited, and well, one, thank you for that. But also, if you guys have visited us, you would have seen that we would try to keep it upscale, up class kind of a place. So we definitely want to make sure, even if we are bringing educational testing, we want to abide by whatever APCA is telling us, and not just jeopardize our relationship with you guys or APCA.
Nick, can I ask you a question? I don't have a medical marijuana license, so I don't think I can visit you.
So again, in DC, it's self-prescription. We help people at the facility. You guys can come in and we can help you get a medical license. And APCA is also changing a lot of rules around how you can apply. But you can go on our website and just apply from that. And it takes you to APCA's website. It's not like we are helping you get the license. It's APCA getting you help.
Explaining how it's done. Okay.
Yeah. So we, at least here at Mr. Green, we try to explain all that to our patients/customers, and we help them fill that form because we also get a lot of older generation people who don't want to do all that. So we do help them, get that and educate them about the products and, what they could use and what they could use for pain, anxiety, etc.
I'm going to
So
reiterate what Commissioner Iglesias said last time, which I think, because we have two new commissioners, and I think it was a really important point that you made, Adrian, which is if somebody wants to obtain cannabis in this neighborhood, they were able to do it. This is just allowing them to do it legally and, within,
Nobody's struggling to obtain it.
right. This
So
this
we
is
would rather
legal,
have
this is
somebody legal.
regulated, this is,
exactly.
and there is an ABCA, I think it's called seed to sale process
Yep.
where they know exactly what's being sold. And
Yeah.
again, I want to tell you, Nick, I appreciate your partnership, and I look forward to continued partnership. And so with I have no objection to the placard,
Okay.
the additional placard that you're requesting. I
Okay.
don't
And
think the ANC needs to vote on it because in our settlement agreement, that was already a piece of it. But I would appreciate it if you would get back to us on the specifics of the tasting endorsement.
And actually, a
absolutely.
quick question related to that because it might help expedite. Nick, do you know if y'all are an ABCA approved safe use treatment facility?
No. No,
You're
so
not.
safe use is completely different. Safe use is more of like I don't want to say indoor lounge, but it's more like
Exactly.
so
Okay.
it's more like you can smoke and all that.
Just
So we
yeah,
don't,
exactly. So
yeah,
as I understand it, if you had a safe use treatment facility, you would
right.
be allowed to have educational activities that involve smoking.
Yeah,
However,
exactly.
if it's not a safe use treatment facility, it does, and I will research this further, but it does seem that educational tasting is permitted, though the definition, yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you, Nick.
yeah. It's
Perfect.
more like, wine tasting. You're not,
Yep.
drinking a whole bottle of
Yes.
wine. You
Or
just
no, but there
tasting.
is a very
Yeah,
clear delineation between smoking of the cannabis and the
absolutely.
tasting of cannabis products. It seems to be from ABCA. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
And we don't, at least that's not our business goal or business plan for smoking, lounge, etc. At all. So we do want to just stick
I
to
want to,
education.
Nick, can I just take it open if anyone has any questions? If there's any commissioners, because or members of the community that have any questions about the business.
Sure.
Okay, so if not, if you would just get back to me on that, and I really appreciate your coming out, and please let's just
Yeah.
continue to be in touch.
Yeah, and one other thing I wanted to add with that is we did request, and well, we are now requesting ANC to for extending our hours. I know this is something we have talked about in the past. It's not just our, the business, etc., but we have a lot of neighbors who request additional hours, even if you're open till 10, not 11, because a lot of uh, our patients, consumers, they get off work at 7 or 8 and they have to rush to us. And if they're rushing to us, especially around the rush hour, 6 to 8 time, they don't find parking. It's a lot of
So Nick,
things.
let me ask you two questions on that. One is that this is not part of this current placard application, right? This is just something coming down the pike.
So I think it's both. When we filled out this placard application, we requested the timings too, but we also want to request you maybe as a separate item pipeline.
Okay, so sorry, I didn't have that in my notes, but
Okay.
would you mind if we spoke about that? I guess one thing I would ask you is, like, it's not milk, it's not a perishable item, so, it seems a little, I'm not quite sure, like, the rushing home to have to get it,
Yeah.
because if you got it, you could get it the day before or whatever, when you were, it does.
Yeah. So
I think
I
that
guess
would be something that the ANC would have to, if you could please email us with the
sure.
hours that you like to extend. And so for everyone to know who's on the phone, when Nick and I negotiated this settlement agreement, again, Nick was a great partner in the settlement agreement. What we talked about was looking at Mr. Green like a liquor store. and mirroring the timing of the opening hours of, for example, Calvert Woodley, or other, which is right across the street. So it seems to bear a lot of similarities, regulated by the same agency. And so that is what we went with. And so I guess like I feel like that it's so similar, that hasn't changed. It's the same thing with like wine
So,
not spoiling. It doesn't, you don't have to be in a rush to come grab it.
so I guess I would, and again, like I would, send you guys or show you guys, all the signed documents that we have from all these patients. But again, I wouldn't compare it to milk. Milk you can buy it and keep it in the fridge, etc. For this is more of a medicine. I guess. So if you are feeling anxious, you have anxiety, you have, whatever emotional breakdown going on, and you want to go to the store. And especially, and most of these people who have complained that, we close at 8, it's people who are getting off work at late. So the whole week, it's the same thing for them. So it's like, when do we come to you? Because we
I
can't, because we're at
appreciate
work.
the analogy. And that I
Yeah,
understand. I understand what you're saying. So could you,
yeah,
because we didn't know about this, would
sure.
you mind emailing the group and letting us just have a couple conversations about it and sort of
Absolutely.
understanding the process?
Absolutely. And I appreciate you guys being open to that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And thanks for coming, and we'll be in touch.
absolutely. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Nick.
And now, the next is we have an ABCA cannabis new application for Canna Art. Canna Art is a business that has been open at 5008 Connecticut Avenue, sort of on and off for the past year as an art gallery, and now it currently has been closed for a bit, and now it has in it a pop-up furniture store called Bold Alley. So it's next to Italian Bar and Truist Bank for people who want the reference. I have not heard from the owner of Canna Art. I don't know if
Good
it looks like
evening.
Yared is on the call, but
Good evening. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you let me know who this is?
Yes. Hello, I'm Saimi Ragami. I am the owner of Kana Art. Me and I'm owner and partner with my partner Yard. I just wanted to introduce myself, say good evening to everyone, to put a face to the business, and everybody's new to me, and I'm impressed, by the way, by the amount of issues that come through your ANC meeting. And your ability for you guys to resolve them and speak up. Yes, please. Just wanted to introduce myself because we have been confusion that would been open or closed, or if there is a how to say, like a licensing in place for what we're doing. We have heard some stories that are not quite pleasant, and I just wanted to clearly put a face and a name and leave my contacts so you guys can contact us for any issues or anything that you guys have, or I can answer any questions that you guys might have right now.
Well, we will be, I think we'll be bringing this to a vote in our next meeting. That would be prior to your protest petition deadline, which I think is May 27th, and our next meeting is May 20th.
Perfect.
So for now, yeah, this is a chance and I hadn't heard from you, for you to yeah, tell people about your business, which is what Nick did. And then we spent some time with Nick negotiating a settlement agreement in advance of our vote.
Yeah, that sounds great, and that's like the purpose of
And
me
Nick
joining
reached
here.
out. Nick reached out to us.
Correct. We have, just wanted to let you know, guys, a little bit of the how we started that project. We are artists, and we believe in the cannabis as medicine. Um, Obviously, for a business to work, we have to make money and all that. But I wanted to share that it's more than just business and making money for us. It's serving the community and serving the community within the guidelines of the APCA. If I might say, the transforming and everyday changing guidelines that the APCA imposes to the businesses. We have opened it as a gift in I-71, which from our consultants and our lawyers, it was allowed completely. We stayed open as for 3 months, and we have shut our doors since August. We have not opened, and we're still not open, but we have given a possibility to Bold Alley, since we also have art as well, to help us also pay the rent and all that, because we have a tremendous investment in that building. So they can sell their stuff, and they can show in this time that we're closed. As you guys already saw in the window, the placard, what it says and all that, we're looking to open as soon as possible. We're looking to serve the community as soon as possible. And I'm not sure what you guys and the gentleman from Mr. Green's has arranged and agreed, but we would love to go further into the process and to talk about what can we do for us to be open.
Yeah, well, as recommended by Van Ness Main Street, you can reach out to us and set up a meeting, and we can talk about and we can go through the APCA licensing process just like we did with Mr. Green. I guess my first question for you is, with another medical business so close, I was wondering, like, does that I mean, I know there's also lots of liquor stores, but like
Correct.
these are fewer, there are fewer of these licenses. So I was wondering what the you've had this idea of having this shop for a long time.
Yes, our application has been put in. It's been almost a year now. It's past a year, so we have just been waiting on the city to like process and all that. So this was like kind of like a rat race for all the shops, who to open first or something like that all over the city. And obviously with the regulations that came up March 31st, a lot of these gifting stores, so called, there had been closed or shut down, padlocked, and all that stuff. So now everybody is paying attention to these licenses. To your question, with the two stores being so closed,
I guess I could rephrase that, because that's
yeah.
not really let me ask you, what brought you to 5008 Connecticut?
5008 Connecticut, I have lived in the neighborhood years ago. I have family and friends that lives in the neighborhood, and my partner yard lives just 10 minutes away from it. We're very familiar with the area, and we believe that it's a safe neighborhood, and I know that there's a lot of cannabis consumers in that neighborhood that date back to from our friends that lived and grew up in the neighborhood from a long time. So we're connected to the neighborhood as a little bit from living, a little bit from as visitors and all that. So what brought us to the neighborhood is that opportunity within to that building that we believe that could be a potential business for us. So it's a business opportunity, and with that, we want to learn how to work with the community.
Does anyone else have questions? Okay, thank you for showing up at the meeting.
You're welcome. Thank you for giving me the chance to.
Okay, so I'm so sorry that we're so behind schedule, everybody. This is time for DC Water. DC Water. Are you guys here? Your Commissioner Bear is not here, but
Hey, can you guys hear me?
yes.
Hi, I'm Raisha. You guys usually hear from my
Hi,
colleague.
Raisha. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay, but I'm getting a little concerned about this project. And getting a little concerned is probably wrong, because I've been concerned about this project, and you don't live right there, but I go by there close enough, often enough to know that not much is happening. And I know you guys always have a reason why nothing is happening. You're waiting for something to arrive, but we're getting to a point where, when we first talked about this and you were starting in July and we're going to be 4 months, and then you started in September, and here we are in April, and we're getting to the point where we're concerned that this is not going to be over before the beginning of the next school year. So can you speak to that quickly because it's late?
Yes, I will actually, Peter's on here. I'm gonna let him answer that.
Okay.
Peter.
Peter.
Oh,
It's past your
I'm so
bedtime.
I'm sorry. We are almost ready, Commissioner. We were waiting for Pepco to turn off the overhead line because we're gonna start, drilling the pile in about a week or two. So Pepco turned off the airline yesterday. So the contractor, Clark Foundation, is on site. Right now they are staking out where the pipe is gonna go. So we're gonna give you, as soon as we get their schedule, we're gonna let you know, but they're gonna start in about maybe 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, they're staking that, because they're putting the pipe in.
You know, but they have all the stuff there and all the fences there, and like we closed that road for you.
We're sorry. We are very sorry. It's just the 72-inch big stump that we, right smack in the middle. But we're gonna finish on time. Once we start.
What is that? So, sorry, Peter. What does on time mean right now? Because we're on time, I thought was like last December.
It was supposed to be. It was supposed to be middle of June.
So mid-June is when you're going to be done?
Yes. Everybody from the top of DC Water and Hancock, we are pushing. We apologize, but we will make it. Once we start, we won't stop. We promise you.
Right, mid-June, Peter, you're gonna hear from us.
Mid-June.
The
Oh my
contractor-
goodness. Everyone, let's say it all together. Mid-June, mid-June.
Hi,
Okay.
hi, Peter. Peter, this is Jill West from Construction Corporation. What we run into is situations that have taken longer than what we expected. And it's unfortunate, but the issue is that until Pepco was willing to turn over the overhead light, we could not lay out to start drilling the soldier piles. Clark will be on site this Thursday, Peter, with myself and Randy. We'll do the schematics. It'll get approved by our civil engineering and Clark's civil engineering, and then we'll start drilling the soldier piles. In the meantime, what you should see is fiber boards and quiet blankets going up around the fencing area. Also, you should see deliveries of bypass pumping coming, and then things should get rolling. So Clark is estimating it's a 2-week drilling. They're actually drilling down over 30 feet. This is not an easy task. It's not an easy task to keep it as quiet as everyone wants it today. And it's also not easy to have them drill and then have a team behind them shoring and sheathing. So a lot of the design things that go into this have had to change 200% over the last 6 months. And a lot of it has to do with the storm drain that was discovered, an abandoned gas line that was never on, and an illegal sewer drain that was never on documents. So I know this has been very heart-wrenching for everyone because of the traffic control, because of the diverting of the children and things like that. What I would like to say is that DC Water wants a safe project for you, one where this manhole is going to last in your community for 200 years, and having access to your storm drain and having a safe road. And we're going to try to do it as fast as we can and as safe as we can.
I appreciate that. And I don't mean to make light of the work that's being done or the care with which it's being done. I guess I just feel like we end up with hearing the same story over and over again. And just from our perspective, that's hard. Commissioner Guzman.
Yeah, also I'm unclear as to why from the beginning of the project, Pepco didn't have a date by which they had to cut the overhead. I mean, it seems like oftentimes in these projects that coordination among all of the players is lacking. I mean, I see this across DC government, but this is just one very specific instance in our neighborhood.
What I can tell you is that Peter did an excellent job communicating with DDOT, because to get Petco to turn off that one small light that's over top of the project took the coordination of about 5 different entities. And we had to get a waiver letter. And originally what we thought could happen was liner tubes could be used on that line, pulling back into the tree area, back further into the sidewalk. But when the storm drain came about, when we had to replace a part of it with the steel storm drain, what happened was the pile drives were no longer accessible to the one corner of the project. And so then it had to be redesigned so it's not to poke a hole into the storm drain, not to poke a hole by moving it 12 inches this way or 12 inches that way. The manhole itself is actually what caused all this, is about 18 inches from the storm drain. So when we started to excavate the first time, as I'm sure you all saw when we did the concrete collards and things, and we were excavating, the thing was to use liner plates and go all the way down. And we figured it would take about a 2 to 4 week, 24-hour process to get down to 40-some feet. With the storm drain being there and being so close, the digging would technically compromise the storm drain and maybe take out your whole one side. So that is why the concrete collars went into place on both ends of the storm drain, is to keep it in place so that we could then do the pile driving. When we found that that pile drive was so close to where we wanted to be with that storm drain, the overhead light then became an issue again, because it wasn't a point of just being able to pull it back. It was a point of now we had to deactivate it, because a crane cannot come in and hammer something down with an overhead light that close. It's a metal crane. Therefore, the electricity with any kind of wind can jump and the crane become electrified. And it's happened on projects in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So I'm not minimalizing what you guys have been through. I know it's been traumatic. I know DC Water has been storming with all different types of engineers and so forth. What I'm saying to you is that Clark and myself and Randy Schultz will be on site Thursday, 1:30, to do the final layout, and we'll present that to Peter on Friday morning and provide him with the schedule. And then he'll be able to send it to you. Our hopes is that once Clark pile drives, we'll have a 2-week turnaround of working 24/7 of excavating and shoring. The base is already in production. The lining company has already been picked for the last 300, I think it's 68 yards or feeder. I'm not sure, but everything is in line. It's just the point where you just got to get past this one little pile driving corner here. So we apologize, and we're going to do our best to move as fast as we can.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciate your jumping in. And I'm sorry I missed at the beginning of what you said because it was a little garbled. Can you just tell me again your name and what piece of the puzzle you are? Because that was a lot of great information. Thank you very much.
My name is Jill West. I'm with Anchor Construction Corporation. I'm the project manager coordinator for DC Water Sewer Main Emergencies for the last 21 years.
Great,
So
amazing.
Thank
you for taking the time to be here and for piping up here. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you. Thanks for that. That was very thorough. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry Mitch wasn't here to hear it because he loves the thorough. But we will look forward to hearing you from DC Water after Thursday. please, with an update, if you can email all of the commissioners, because Mitch is out of town for a bit. So we are going to try and circle around this project in his absence and keep everyone informed. Thank you all for being here. And again, I'm very sorry that that you had to be here so late. So thanks for what you've done. And as always, we're cheering you on. Brad King, DC Archives.
Hello, Courtney.
Hi.
DC Archives. I'm sorry we haven't given much of an update. We've been in sort of an analysis mode since we have recently completed our interior demolition and abatement phase of the project. We have our final sign off that the building is clear of all hazardous materials, so we are moving on from that. In the meantime, we have gotten our permits for structural demolition, as well as a footing to grade permit, which would let us get back up to grade. But what we found in the meantime is some, through analysis, some structural deficiencies in the parking garage below building 41 and below building 44. So we have been working with UDC to undergo some remediation of the parking garage structure underneath the buildings. And that's currently where we are. We're sort of in negotiations to get that work started, which is holding up our structural demolition. We can't do our demolition until the remediation is done. So that's currently where we're at. And we're working through that with UDC to get that work started.
All bouncing the dots with UDC here. UDC is front and center. Thank you so much for providing an update and for sticking with us so late.
Yeah, no worries. And we did have a community tour. Gosh, it's probably been a couple of months ago now, but we were hoping to continue those, but we won't do that until structural demolition is complete, just for safety reasons, but we'll pick them back up during the construction phases. So it probably won't be till maybe late winter, early spring of next year till we do another tour.
Okay, great. So thank you, and you'll keep us posted.
Certainly.
Great. Have a nice night. Thanks. It's nice
Thank
to know
you.
what's going on over there since it's not totally apparent yet. Thank you.
Yeah, it's kind of a mystery, but
Yeah, so we're unwrapping mysteries here all the time. Okay, thank you. We're gonna
thank you.
I'm gonna just quickly introduce this Forest Hills Park resolution without getting into it, as I would love to do, because it deserves the time. But I would like to move that we approve this resolution. I will let everyone know who's on the call and who's watching this later that it is available on our website. And if you'd like any more information, you can feel free to email me or Mitch Bear. This really focuses on the requests for service that have not been addressed by DGS and Department of Parks and Rec. And so we're hoping, as we had a resolution nearly a year ago, asking July 16th, asking for these things to be addressed. They still haven't been addressed. I know we talked about this earlier in the meeting. So I'd like to move that we approve the resolution regarding facility conditions in Forest Hills Park, requiring District of Columbia, Department of Parks and Recreation, and Department of General Services attention.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's all four commissioners who are present. Thank you very much. Please, everyone, enjoy the park, love the park, help clean up the park. And moving on to park neighbors, well, we're all park neighbors. 5012 Nebraska Avenue, a BZA. Gregory, are you here?
I am here, yes.
Great. And I think you have a colleague, and I just want to introduce quickly this for people who love coming to our meetings. We have approved previously similar, not similar projects, but a similar variance on this same strip of properties along Nebraska Avenue between Fessenden and Connecticut. It has many of the neighbors on the same block have asked for similar, if not the same, request. So go for it.
All right, so we'll try to be as brief as possible as we're getting later into the night. So
Sorry.
thanks for, no problem at all. Just we'll try to answer all your questions and be brief. So I just want to introduce the team. Myself, I'm the BZA consultant. Eric Groning is the architect for the project. And then Henry and Risa are the owners of the project. We are asking for BZA relief for one thing, and that is the 10-foot rear addition rule, which is a special exception. So that is everything else we're doing for the addition renovation of this project is a matter of right and conforms to all zoning regulations. And the special exception is for 12 feet. We're proposing a 22-foot addition past the adjoining neighbor's property, which you have a matter right of 10 feet. So we are asking for 12 feet relief. So I'm going to let.
Can you let me, the adjoining neighbor has agreed that
Yeah, we have a support letter from the adjoining neighbor and from almost every other neighbor in the immediate vicinity. So the neighbors overwhelmingly are supporting the project.
Thank you. I think
All right, so
that's for us. The most important part is neighbors feeling like they've been reached out.
All that is in the BZA application, and I can send you all those support letters if you like, but it is all there. I think you can access
I can access them.
Yeah, the BZA. So all the letters have been uploaded into the system. And so I just want to let Henry and Risa just say hello. They're the owners of the project, and this is, we're working on their behalf. And then Eric will give a very brief description of the project architecturally, and I'll wrap it up. But, we're going to be 1 or 2 minutes each only.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Henry?
Chairwoman Carlson, and commissioners that are present. Thank you for letting us chime in on our project. I won't read the 17 pages I wrote last night and edited this morning, but I will say that we're excited about our project. We've been in the neighborhood for 25 years. Risa is standing in a darker room and she's supportive, I hope. And she is.
Better up here.
We're looking forward to your support as well.
Thank you. It's nice to see you, and thank you. Groning Architects, do you want us to give us a quick overview?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. My name's Eric Groning. I'm the architect for the project. Thank you for staying out so late and giving us this opportunity to present. Do you want me to share my screen, or would you be pulling up the BZA package?
Can you share your screen? Adrian, is that doable for him?
He should be able to.
I got to send a request, it says.
Oh, there you go. I gotcha. You're good. You can't just have any old person sharing their screen.
Yeah, of course not. All right. I will keep this very brief. I too had 17 pages written, but I will just run you through this real quickly, and then we can talk in more detail as we need to. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Give me 1 sec. So the project is 5012 Nebraska Avenue. It's a through lot. It has an alley behind it. This house was built with 2 adjoining houses at the same time. It's 2 stories with a cellar. It's masonry. And this particular property has its entry door on the side, which you can see in this image here. So it's 2-story brick house with an enclosed, what used to be a porch in the front. We are proposing a 2-story addition to the rear. And the addition is approximately 234 square feet larger than what the property is now. And that's best seen here. We have an existing site plan on the screen. Our property is here, 5012. You can see at the rear of the house, it kind of does a little jog here. That jog and that addition is currently 15'2" past the neighbor's rear wall, which is 5010. And we are proposing an addition behind this house to 22 feet past the neighboring property, which you can see here. So that yellow area is the area of the addition. And this dashed line that you see here is an existing addition that's on the first floor. So there's already part of the house 15 feet deeper than the neighboring house. We're proposing, just over 7 feet longer, but 2 stories. So in essence, that's the relief that we're looking for. There are plans in the package that I think everyone should have. And we have some renderings that display the project better here. And I can answer any questions. Hopefully that was brief enough, but if you have any.
No, that's great. I looked, it is my SMD, so I looked through the packet. And your neighbors being support, I think is the most important part of this. So I would move that we vote to support. I'm sorry, I think I said it wrong before because it's not a variance, it's a special.
It's a special exception, and the
So I just want to
special
get the,
exception is from D207.4, which is the rear addition 10-foot rule.
okay, so I think I can just say, I just didn't want to say variance. So I vote that I move that we vote to approve the special exception at 5012 Nebraska Avenue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So that's all 4 commissioners present. So thank you so much for coming, for staying late. Henry and Reese, I've seen your beautiful garden. I hope you're able to save it and recreate it.
We'll try. We will try.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Courtney. Will you be sending a letter to BZA then?
Can you email me tomorrow and because I won't.
Yeah, and I can help you craft it if needed or whatever,
That would be...
and just so you can put it in, but we have time, so if we don't get it this week, next week or whatever is fine. So, but I'll work with you on crafting the letter of support to the Board of Zoning adjustment, and then we can coordinate that and get it uploaded into the system.
Thank you so much. Thanks. And absolutely, we support you and good luck in the construction part, which is never fun. But
thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Commissioner Guzman, this is our latest meeting ever since I've been the chair. I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm sorry, 16 people who are left. Do you have a treasurer's report press?
Yes, I will make it brief. Hold on, sorry, not being brief. Wait, why won't it pull up? Okay, sorry. Okay. Okay, the opening balance was 55,902.39. We had a change of 4,501.38 in the red. That was due to several checks that were written for personnel issues, also a $1,200 expense for advertising in the Forest Hills Connection. And there is a charge for our website that is currently under review and to secure appropriate documentation. Happy to answer any questions that anyone might have about these expenses. But if not, if there are no questions, this treasurer's report will be attached to the March minutes.
My question is that because we are reviewing the website charge, how, and that's going to take I guess, a day or so at minimum, because we don't have the information we need at the moment. Does that delay your QFR?
Yes, I'm in communication with Don Dickerson at the OANC about this. If we are able to get the information that we need, specifically from Commissioner David, then we will probably make our QFR filing deadline. And so if not, there is
That information has been requested from Commissioner David.
Yes,
and
the
not
information
received.
has been requested in writing from Commissioner David. And if she had been here tonight, I would have requested it verbally as well. But we are coming close to the deadline, but I am working with OANC to have an exception if needed. And I don't think that we will have to go through any formal delay, like paperwork delay processing or anything like that. I'm still new in this treasurer position, but I am trying to make sure that we are in compliance with everything. That's why it is imperative that when commissioners have information that impacts the filing of the QFR, that it is provided in a timely manner.
Great. Okay, so we'll continue to work on this offline.
Does anyone from the community have any questions? Do any other commissioners have questions about any of the expenses or the impending QFR filing? I just want to make sure that people feel like they understand the financial status of your ANC.
Thanks for
Well, thank you for doing that. Does someone have a question? I'm sorry.
Does someone have a question?
No, it's just me. I said thank you for
Oh.
your
Hi, sorry. We couldn't see.
Sorry.
All right, so we need to end this meeting and with that thorough report and thanks for the work of being the treasurer, because it's really it's very detailed. And it's oddly, it's like volunteering to do this job plus volunteering to like run a mini organization. From a treasury standpoint, and it's really like a separate thing on top of the volunteer work that you're doing. So I want to thank you for doing that. And then I'm gonna
good for the community to know that I was not a math whiz in school. So it's not like you have a genius running the books here, but I'm trying.
We'll take it.
Thanks.
Looks good to me. Okay, I'm gonna move that we adjourn this meeting at 9:40. Second? I think I can say all in favor. Everybody, thank you so much, everyone, for attending.
Thank you
and
for
our
the
next
12
meeting-
people that stayed.
Yeah, right. Our next meeting, we're actually going to write you in individual thank you notes to the 12 people who are
Right.
still here.
Right.
So the next meeting will be Tuesday, May the 20th at 7 p.m. And we hope to see at least the ones who are here again at 7 p.m. Take care.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.